Hi, I'm Jack Powers, and I'm here to talk to you about the Christmas Day murder in 1996, a very famous case, a sensational case about a 6-year-old beauty pageant winner named JonBenét Ramsey. JonBenét Ramsey. This is a family that lived in Boulder, Colorado. The dad, John, a millionaire, very wealthy people, wife, Patsy. They have several homes around the country. They happen to spend this Christmas in Boulder, their house in Boulder. They spend the day, Christmas Day, with friends there in Boulder. And they return home about 9 p.m. and everybody goes to their bedrooms. Everybody's tired from the day. They do their normal stuff before they go to bed, and they retire for the evening. JonBenét is already asleep in the car, so her dad picks her up and carries her to her bed and gets her in her bed and so forth. So everybody's asleep. The next morning, the mother wakes up early, 5 o'clock, 5:30. She goes down the stairs and she finds, laying on the stairs, a 3-page ransom note. She reads it, finds that JonBenét has been kidnapped. She runs back up the stairs to check JonBenét's room, sees that she's gone. She informs her husband, and then she calls the police, 911. Our girl is missing, she's been kidnapped. The note itself reads like it was meant to be interpreted as some Arab or terrorist type faction that has kidnapped the girl. They're asking for $118,000 from a multi-millionaire. And they're telling the parents, if you call the police, if you contact anyone, we will be monitoring you and your little girl will be dead. There's a lot of things that didn't add up about all this, including the handwriting analysis that pointed to Patsy Ramsey as being the author of that note. So here's what I think happened. Everybody's floated a theory. It was an intruder, it was attempted kidnapping, it was somebody that hated either the mother or the father, wanted revenge. It was the older brother, Burke, 9 years old, who did it because his fingerprint was found on a bowl of pineapple and milk that was in the sink, and pineapple and milk was found in JonBenét's belly when they did the autopsy, her stomach. Look, this is very simple. This is very straightforward. There's no mystery here. Patsy Ramsey is the one who killed JonBenét Ramsey. There's no question about it in my mind. None. Zero. Here's the caveat. The caveat is she didn't realize. Patsy Ramsey did not realize what she was doing when she did it. Here's why. She was taking Xanax. She was tired, stressed from the day, deathly tired, just out of it. They went to bed. Patsy Ramsey begins to experience these really compelling dreams. You want to call it a nightmare, you want to call it some kind of a vivid, night terror, whatever. We all have them from time to time. But she is having a particular intense one that's working on her unconscious mind. And she begins to act this out physically. She gets up, she goes down the stairs. Maybe she does a couple little things in the bedroom first, goes down the stairs, goes to JonBenét's bedroom, gets her out of bed, brings her down to the kitchen, maybe gives her a bowl of pineapple and milk, maybe does a few things around the kitchen, and then takes her downstairs to the basement where she strangles her and hits her in the head with something heavy, enough to fracture little JonBenét's skull with an 8.5-inch fracture, enough to kill her. And remember, this is just a 6-year-old little girl who loves her mother and trusts her, and they're two peas in a pod. The mother would not have done this unless she did not know what she was doing, unless she was completely unconscious while she was doing it. In other words, I believe that the content of the dream was being acted out in the physical space. The mother, when she went to get JonBenét in the dream, it might have been that she was going to get some kind of present for somebody, or maybe she was going to pick up her car, or a Christmas tree, or maybe she was going to some place where she was going to be confronted with some kind of danger, what have you. This all happens typically in these really vivid dreams. I've had them, you've had them, everybody's had them. Under the influence of Xanax, we know historically there's been cases, many cases, where people do things. One guy got up in his underwear and his t-shirt, left his apartment, got in a car, drove over to his in-laws, his wife's mother and father's place, talked to them in the driveway and outside, got back in his car, drove back, went back to bed. The next morning, remembered none of it. No recollection whatsoever. Completely in the blind. Now, that is likely what happened. Now, once the father got up, Patsy knew that something was terribly wrong. She probably couldn't go back to sleep after this event. Maybe she woke up right at the end of this event. Maybe she became conscious right at the end of it. Maybe she startled and woke up, and there was her daughter dead on the floor. A nylon rope around her neck, twisted with the broken handle of one of her paintbrushes, her skull bashed open, and apparently some kind of a sexual assault, not with the body part, but with some kind of an object, had occurred. Not known. But there she is. At some point, Patsy Ramsey realized what had happened, and the enormity of all of this just must have been overwhelming. And it shows in her reactions. She probably went right away and woke up John. And John probably went right away and saw that his daughter was dead in the basement, in a back room. Maybe she wasn't there originally. Maybe she was taken there by John so that the kidnapping thing could be pulled off later on, the fake ransom note and the body hidden so that it couldn't be found. Whatever happened, John certainly knew about it. And Patsy was inconsolable. Don't think she did it purposely. There's no way that she would have done it purposely. People can get mad. They can get very angry. They can get, if patience just gets worn thin, they can snap. They can act out. However, it's usually just a short-lived thing, and it usually goes so far. It's not going to go to the point of tying her little hands together, smashing her head in, wrapping a garrote around her throat and twisting it with a paintbrush handle. It's not going to go to that extreme or that extent. This was just a horrible, it was really an accident, that's how you'd have to classify it, because you couldn't find any intent. You couldn't find any mens rea. There is none. None at all. And that's what you need to form the basis of a crime, particularly the crime of murder. But I believe that they immediately contacted the family attorney. And they were probably told, they were probably instructed on what to do and how to do it. Either that or they concocted this themselves. John had his wife write out this note, told her what to say, and she wrote it out. Maybe she tried 3 or 4 times before she got the note the way he wanted it to be. He maybe took control because he was that kind of guy. He might have just taken control of that whole situation. And Patsy herself was she was no Patsy. She's an intelligent woman, wealthy woman, used to getting her way or having whatever she wanted done or whatever she needed provided. She might have also jumped right on board with it, knowing that, this horrible event had the potential to put them both in jail, maybe even in prison. So for the protection of their reputation, their family, their son, themselves included, they put up this false kidnapping scheme. That's what they put forward to the police. That's what they tried to make seem plausible. Was it plausible? No. Doors were locked. There was no entry. The broken window by the basement, JonBenét Ramsey had admitted to doing that himself to get into the house some time ago, never fixed the window. There's nothing, absolutely zero, that implicates or even indicates any kind of a kidnapping. And then it just doesn't make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, it isn't true, right? So are you going to ask a multimillionaire for $118,000, the very amount that John Ramsey just received a few months back as a bonus? Are you going to ask for $118,000? Why would you leave a ransom note if you went ahead and killed the little girl? If it was a kidnapping gone bad, which is what John Ramsey now says it was, why would you leave the note? And what would have went bad with a 6-year-old girl? There were no noise in the house. They said there was nothing that woke them up. It was perfectly, they didn't hear anything, see anything, smell anything, taste anything, touch anything. It was quiet, according to Ramsey's, throughout the night. So what would have happened? There's not much that could have. And there's nothing that did in reality. She wasn't the victim of an attempted kidnapping where something went wrong. That's preposterous. What's most likely is that Patsy Ramsey did this in a state of unconsciousness. I don't know exactly how it would be classified, maybe an unconscious psychosis or psychosis. I don't know how you'd classify it, but that's most likely what happened. It's bizarre, it's unreal, it's terrible, but that's probably what happened. By the way, Patsy Ramsey did die a few years after the event from ovarian cancer. I do feel sorry for the family. I do feel bad about the entire event. I feel bad for Burke. He was kind of caught in the middle. At one point, he was accused. They made a documentary movie about it, and he sued CBS for $750 million. Got a big settlement out of that, undisclosed amount, probably in the millions. So hopefully he's good. I know that John Ramsey got remarried after Patsy died. They live in and around Atlanta, Georgia. And apparently they're going on with their lives. JonBenét Ramsey was buried in Atlanta, around Atlanta, Georgia. So life goes on for us. For them, Christmas Day, 1996, was a nightmare. please hit that subscribe button right now. If this has been interesting, if it's been good, if you like it, if you want to see more of this type of content, if you just want to help me out, it doesn't cost anything. It'll help me, it'll help you, it'll help this channel. Please just reach out and hit that subscribe button right now. Thank you very much.